Gonna have a read over this book, and we're gonna see what we can find out about the animal, the spirit, and the ghost animals. There's my cat. So how this book's set out is like an encyclopedia. Anything you have spiritually or in your dreams, you find out and look for it in this book. It's alphabetically. Now we're on rabbit, and it's saying, see animals. So here we are, animals. So by understanding animals and their symbolism, we approach life in a more simplistic and natural way. In shamanism, one of the most ancient belief systems, animals are an intrinsic part of the shaman of shamans, which is a wise man or a priest journey into other realms. They are protective as a being and a teacher. When we need some sort of understanding of our own psychological urges, animals will appear in dreams and sometimes in everyday life, which symbolises those qualities. These are, so I found rabbit. Rabbits appearing in dreams can mean one of two things. The obvious connection with fertility could be important, or it could be that the trickster aspect is coming to the fore. A white rabbit may show us in the way to the inner spiritual world, and as such act as a guide. Also consult the entry for hare in this section. So let's do that. Here we go. Hare. The hare highlights intuition, spiritual insight, and intuitive leaps. Intuition may be debased into madness or capriciousness by fear or ignorance. Because of its association with the moon, the hare can, in its negative aspect, signify the priestess, witch aspect of femininity, or the priest sorcerer of the masculine. In its positive imagery, however, it is the radiant hare, often holding its baby in a cave, and thus the mother of God. Also consult the information on archetypes in the introduction. So give me a second. Archetypes are basic pictures that each of us hold deep within our unconscious and belong to what Jung called the collective unconscious. They are, in a sense, psychic blueprints. These blueprints, while potentially perfect, can become distorted by childhood experiences, socializations, or even a parental experience. Throughout the book, you will see various cross-references to certain archetypes and characters that are the stuff of which dreams are made of, and closely approximate to the lost parts of the personality. The Fritz Perls decreed could be rescued because they are universal archetypes, can present in many guises, yet ultimately with thought or totally recognizable. 3 facts of our personality show themselves separate in dreams. Sometimes they appear as people we know, sometimes as fictitious or mythical characters or beings, and sometimes as other images. The most difficult side, we all have as being called the shadow, and is the personification of our worst faults and weaknesses. It is the part of us that is the same sex as us, but has been suppressed because it is frightened and unmanageable. Then there is the anima, or in a woman, the animus. This represents the opposite sex within the dreamer. In a man, it is all that is instinctive, feminine and sensitive. In a woman, it is all masculine attributes of logic and objectivity. Finally, there is the ideal of our true self, which holds our highest possible creative potential, and is most likely initially to communicate through dreams. Although the self first appears as potentially belonging to the future, as the other aspect become properly integrated, the individual may then become the whole, real and many-sided self. If we are prepared to work with the archetypal image and to understand them, the dream figures can help to create a sustainable reality that exists beyond any of them. They will then have fulfilled their function, and so will be unlikely to reappear in dreams except in times of stress, because the most important quality of our inner being is energy, which can then become power. Of these dream images represents a different aspect of those vital forces we have at our disposal. Of our character. Each part of the personality must grow in its own sphere without distributing the function of the others. As each aspect matures, we are able to understand more and more about ourselves. When conflict does arise, when conflict does arise between them, while the process may be painful, it should not be destructive. The interaction between them should both enhance and hone the character. Those parts having first been seen as separate entities and then understood should become familiar and properly integrated into the whole personality. Then is really a case of all being greater than the sum of the parts. Thank you for listening. I've been to speech therapy, and I can read okay. It's just awkward holding a book and holding a phone and doing reading and trying to read. But yeah, I think it kind of makes sense about the rabbit. So thank you for listening.